Good morning. It's Thursday, the 16th of April 2020, and it's 11:46 a.m., which is the Leo Meridian time. At the moment, we have Sun in Aries trotting down the last few days. The 16th of April, we're going to Taurus on the 20th, and Taurus is going to be a very, very powerful time. So historically, we have the Wesak moon coming up. So just check that out. The full moon in Scorpio, which is the Wesak moon, which is Buddha's birthday, is coming up on the 7th of May at 11:45, and it's known as the flower moon. So this is what we're working towards in the next chapter. And you can see that things are starting to begin right now. So 4 days to go. In terms of what moon it is today, it is moon in Aquarius, and so very powerful because we've got all this Aquarius energy coming in, changing the world now, and lots of different things happening today across the planet that I've looked at. We have got Aquarius at 13 degrees in Glastonbury in the UK. So I'm just going to read you Inside Degrees, which is aquaorfire.net. A lidless granite sarcophagus. It is empty. There is nothing to go back to. The past has become a phantom. You are propelled forward into the great unknown. But it's so easy to become somewhat desperate and out of context. So much depends upon how you interpret the fact that you are strictly on your own, without a personal history or heritage to fall back upon. Is this real opportunity or a strange fate? It's very hard to tell the difference as it all becomes ambiguous, paradoxical, very mixed. Where do you go from here? No easy answers anywhere. Perhaps the only thing to do is to acknowledge and move with this radical opening and to put no interpretations on it, assuming nothing at all. For if you can welcome multi-dimensionality with true open arms, it may well turn out that the future was never supposed to be like the past, and that becoming so free does provide an open access channel for what needs to happen to come through a jump ahead of the last moment, synchronized with evolution beautifully. Wow, I have never read that degree before, and isn't it exciting? So things starting to shift on the planet, and where are we in the Mayan calendar today? Well, we are, my calendar needs some repair, as you can see. It's not in its usual place at the moment. So we're right down at the bottom. Can you see the blue tack there? We're on white overtone mirror. And so we're on a day 5. Overtone is day 5. And the planet for white mirror is Neptune, which takes us right back to the other sign that it's twinned with, which is Red Dragon, which is also Neptune. So remember when we initiated this 260-day spiral was on the 30th of March. So again, what the Great Mother is bringing us, that's what Red Dragon is all about. In Aries, new beginnings in astrology, and the planet Neptune. So are we ready to let go of our delusions and delusions around our conditioned worldview mindset that we've been in for 5,500 years? Human evolution is going into a huge new chapter that began on December 21st, 2012, when we started a new 5,500 year cycle. So if we go down to, we're in the mastery codes, and so this began 5 days ago with the moon goddess Ixchel, white magnetic wizard. And so that's the 13-day process that we're in, is self-empowerment, letting the magic flow through us. That's also the yearly 13-year cycle that we began on the 26th of July on 2019. So we've now completed 9 months of that, and the 260-day cycle, that's what it's about. It's a human gestation period. So we've done that. We're now seeing where we actually are with it. And on the world stage, today we are seeing our personal view reflected back to us. So again, remember, in terms of being an alchemist and a person who is doing the Red Skywalker Buddha process of being authentic and being the beacon of light, and now coming into the next stage of that, which is refining that, letting the magic flow through us, getting in alignment with this new human conscious awareness that's beaming in on the planet because it's time. So really factoring that in now, realizing that as we're in this last period of 3 months of seeing that manifestation on an individual level, because that's the only person we can change is ourselves. And as we change, as we be the change, then we change the world, literally. We change the bigger picture, because on a cellular level, we're all connected in some way. We've all got some connection there. And that's, again, what this whole belief system is about becoming a clear sign, becoming emotionally free, just like it says in the Aquarius 13 code. This is the shift. This is about getting clear of the old personal story, to let the magic flow through us, let the cosmic consciousness come into us on a deeper level, not just intellectually, on every level, by healing our hearts, coming into empowerment, which is being in our power in an assertive way, by healing all the times that we have been disempowered as an individual, and letting go of a conditioned mindset that believes that we have to do something on the outside first, or do something with somebody else first, or somebody else is more important. So again, this is just an ego delusion and illusion around not wanting to look at our own personal stuff, because often emotionally it is painful. But that's where we've got to go. Stop doing the bullshit. Again, this is a Taurus energy that's going to be coming in, and the power of the next step in the zodiac wheel, which is the second house, and the axis of Taurus and Scorpio. So again, it's this power dominion issue that's going to come up around the material, the ways of the ego keeping safe, around believing that if we build lots of money in, for example, then we'll be safe. Avoiding intimacy, the opposite is Scorpio, the death and rebirth. So we've got the second and the 8th house is going to be coming up soon. So that's what we're building up to now. That's what is going to be coming up. Later in May, it's a huge month. We're going to be having several of the bigger planets going retrograde. We've got a North Node shift going on into Gemini, which is all about right relationship. And at the moment, there's lots of Gemini energy going on as well with the asteroids. So bringing this white wizard goddess energy in. And what's starting to shift now is old patterns of the narcissist. So again, mastering that, where people have been in power imbalance around narcissistic relationship, have been gaslighted, have been psychologically tricked, conditioned. Again, check this out, do lots of research. If you want to be an empowered person, you need to understand the mind. You need to understand your mind and how the mind can be manipulated because of trauma through using fear. So really, this is essential work, is to know about psychology, to know how we as an individual and collective can be shaped into key ways of being. I started studying psychology when I became a mum, which was when I was 29, doing my Saturn return. And my motivation for that was to be the best parent that I could be. So I wanted to understand how I was going to shape my child's world at that time and to do the best job that I possibly could. And what I started to discover in the research and the studies that had already been done by certain people really, really shocked me. There were a lot of psychological experiments that were done early in around the 1950s in the US, and again, check these out, Google these, that weren't done with people's informed consent. And this is continuing, and this has just expanded more and more. So do your due diligence. That's key to empowerment. Let go of everybody else's stories and focus on your own perspective and your own view of the world, because that's who we are as an individual. We see and we experience what we believe. And if that isn't feeling empowering for you right now, then remember, you can change that on an individual level. And I offer you, this is what's happening on the world stage, is it is the end of times. It is the apocalypse, meaning the veil is being lifted. That's the true meaning of that word. Old things need to end. This is White World Bridger, so that new ones can begin. And that happens on a personal level for each individual. And this is what Saturn in Aquarius is. This is the structure of going against the old tribal ways that no longer serve people, that are disempowering. Again, back to the narcissist, focusing on what often happens in the psyche when a person's being bullied, being coercively bullied, being oppressed, when they're dependent on a system, on a job, on a powerful person in relationship. So it could be a spouse, it could be a parent. It means that they're under psychological pressure, they're not free. And so one of the ways of coping with that is Stockholm syndrome, which, again, Google that, check it out for yourself. This is about how people make friends with the person who is keeping them prisoner in order to stay alive. And so it goes against a deeper awareness, though. And collectively, many people have been in these types of relationships for many years and have experienced psychological trauma because of that. So there's lots of psychological trauma going on now on the world stage for people, and many people don't know how to handle that. They don't know what, it's totally outside of their remit. But again, this is about personal empowerment and learning new skills, learning how to let go of these old ways of being that create disempowerment for us as an individual. So it's key to be the change that we want to see. And this is what we're in, this process we're in now. Now, this moon goddess 13-year cycle that we started on the 26th of July is going to change on the 26th of July 2020, and we'll be going into the second year, which is blue lunar storm. And so we're then going to be going into another mastery process of the emotions. It's the emotion evolution time. Okay, so it's matching these up, the head and the heart, and coming into heart wisdom, which requires healing the heart and resetting all of the damage that has been done in overriding our intuition. Again, this is key to return to balance of the sacred feminine. That's the 13-year cycle that we're in. So when we go into the damage, when we learn how to heal that, and again, as always, I use emotional freedom technique. Check it out, EFT, the originator, Gary Craig, emofree.com. Loads of resources out there for you so you can learn how this works, how your amygdala works, how we are stuck in old story that we need to get clear and free of. Check it out. It's the most important part of the process. You can start doing it. You don't need to know your astrology. You don't need to know your Mayan cosmology. You can start to heal anyway. Now, and what's being shown to you now is the buttons. The buttons, the problem, the issues, your power issues, where you are experiencing emotion. So it could be you're angry, it could be that you're sad, it could be a mixture of things going on. Everybody will be experiencing this on the world stage now. It's huge. It's a huge pattern shift. It isn't enough to understand it intellectually. That does not heal it. This is why it's so important to do the research with this and learn how to do this for yourself, because this is what I offer you. If you don't get clear of it, this is what I personally believe to be true and have been experiencing for the last 13 years, where I've been using EFT on myself primarily and with other people as a therapist, and watching people experience powerful shifts. It's not a quick fix at all. Nothing is a quick fix. We've taken thousands of years to get to this point of where we are as a human being. So it's not going to change in a heartbeat, is it? Doing a small amount every day and learning this tool will help you come into your center more and more. It will help you understand what your fears are. The more that you do this process and the more that you go back, follow the buttons back, follow the cosmic cookie trail back, wherever you're being triggered, that shows you an old story. That's what you need to go back to and clear the emotion, understand what created that way of being, and most importantly, stop doing it. And that may seem like total common sense, total, well, of course. But the more that you understand about psychology and the more that you understand about how the human mind works on an emotional level, not an intellectual level, you understand why people do behaviours, why we're stuck in this old story, creating wounding over and over again. It's because the emotional mind just wants to get its emotional needs met, and it's not logical. It does not care how it does that. So many poisons on the world stage now around things that are very harmful to human beings, and many human beings know that they're doing harmful things, but they keep doing them because it makes them feel good, because it's something that they've always done, for example. So again, the wonder of this huge pattern interrupt has made us stop doing that. And often this is the case. So shamanically, this is often the case. A huge fear event has to happen to get people to shift. And for some people, they won't shift. They will go right back to their old behaviours, even though they will have been saying intellectually that they want to change, that they value, blah, 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 all of this story. But what I want to offer you that is so important is, if you don't change the inside mechanism, if you don't heal the story, if you don't stop the behaviour that created the wounding, then it just carries on, because that's how it works. The huge imbalance of power on planet Earth is what we're seeing now. We're seeing key awareness around what we value. Again, Taurian, we've got Uranus in Taurus, and this is going to be going retrograde as well later on. I'll be doing more videos about that. So what's coming to light for us? What's the new learning for us about what we value? Now, again, we've split off certain factions again around, oh, well, this is more valuable than that. You know, we've got essential workers, and everybody's essential. We're all in this together. There's nobody better than anybody else. We all want to be loved and accepted for who we are, and yet we're still elevating others. Again, this is a key ego, smoke and mirrors, avoidance of looking at oneself. And especially key for women, especially key for people in the caring profession, is to sacrifice oneself. Part of the conditioned mindset. If you sacrifice yourself, you will not be here anymore. If you do things that aren't healthy for you, you will not be here anymore. Just like the saying in the airplane, put your own oxygen mask on first. And that may be the most difficult thing that you have to rewire right now. Just notice that. Can I put myself first? Because if you don't, you cannot care for anybody else anyway, because you will become sick. And that's the truth. So lots of different programs being seen at the moment. The Aquarius energy is strong, where people will not be like children and told what to do unless there is significant evidence. Remember, Aquarius is about solution focus. If people are being told things that don't seem to make sense, again, this is gaslighting and narcissistic patterning, then some people will take action against it, and they will only put up with being told what to do for so long. We are not in an age of people simply lying back and letting other people tell them that this is how it's going to be for them if it does not make any sense to them. We are here at this time to be the gift, be the change, ask questions about everything. What we need in the bigger picture is people who are skeptical about anything and everything and ask questions. Don't just accept everything as presented by a certain group, because, as I've already said, each person has their own worldview dependent on their life experience, and often think that that's the truth when it's their truth. It's a subjective truth. It isn't an objective truth. As a collective, it's the time to decide how we want to live on planet Earth and start shaping that now. So start looking at what has created wounding for the human being and behaviours that are inappropriate, that are aggressive, and all that stems from that. That needs to stop, because that just creates more wounding and we just get more of the same. It's time for human beings to mature, grow up, and do the right thing, do right relationship. So today, as an individual, you can look at what has been pushing your buttons around what other people do and how that makes you feel. That's a great starting point. You can look at what's happening in your personal reflection right now. What's been happening to you over the past month in your environment? Who's been getting on your nerves? In your own space, in the bigger picture place? Whose threads have you been following on Facebook? Whose political stuff have you been following? Who have you been in touch with? How's that making you feel? How has your trust changed? How has your experience been on a personal level for you? What story are you telling yourself? Is that empowering for you? Notice what doesn't feel empowering. So really get focused, write it down, do your own manual for yourself. This is key to personal empowerment. This isn't about anybody else. This is about I. Aries, new beginnings, I. What is my story as the hero and the heroine on their journey in the next 6 months? So the cards that I got today, a powerful one, Kali. Okay, so very powerful archetype of death and rebirth on a personal level. Give me the strength to look my faults in the eye and to allow you to strike my fear with the dagger of annihilation, so I may find my true self and reside in the comfort of your blessing. The Dark Goddess is what it's all about right now. White Dog. So the 10th Mayan sign, the 10th day after the 30th of March in the first 13-day process is the heart's desire. And the heart's desire is to love, to heal, to be with family, whether that's blood family or that's soul family, to be around loving energy free from ancestral wounding. So lots of people have been totally cut off from their families, apart from the virtual. Do you want that to carry on? Do you ever want that to come back again? Knight of Swords. This is a very powerful energy again, and key to what I've just been speaking about with the astrology. This is why I love using this stuff, because I just have no doubts at all about there is a story already written. It's just what level of the game do you want to play at. So in terms of this energy, so this is Eli Tarot strikingly.com, who puts in a great deal of information there. And so you can work at whatever depth you want to go to. So it's the fiery part of air, and it rules from 21 degrees Taurus to 20 degrees Gemini. It represents the personification of the activating force behind the world of astral images and ideas. So this is a personality of the conscious mind. And so it's, again, the knight on the charger. If you look at the picture of that, it's very, very dynamic. The violent, cutting power of this force. So again, it's a mature, masculine energy, a cutting edge of consciousness at its ultimate phase of creative control and will. And deep down, despite the world view conditioning that the individual has, there's, on a deeper level, on a soul level, on a child level, people know what is right. So often involved in matters of justice, discipline, civic and personal order. And So the spirit of the tempest, the stubborn will of Taurus, and the inspiration of Gemini. So we're going to have some really big shifts coming up. The will to transcend, an analytical period where the power of idea and motion come into play, letting go of old beliefs and attitudes that no longer serve the motion of the individual. A person of tough-minded common sense that's usually based on preconception and prejudice. So again, the ego wanting to control. A lawyer, senator or doctor. A lot coming up on the media at the moment about challenges to certain views about what's been going on and what's been decided is going on, and actions around that that have affected everyone on planet Earth. Those are now being challenged. So what's being called for now is, instead of projections and models, it's what's actually happened. We're going to have to take stock of key people in power who have made decisions for everybody, basically, based on certain groups of people who've said this is what's going to happen. And then the difference between that and what has actually happened, and how to work with this energy. Also looking deeper at what has this allowed to happen, and the change in people's mindsets, you know, what they believe, what they don't believe. Huge fear happening on the planet. And remember, the way to work with fear on an individual level is to feel it and be with it and know that it's coming from something from the past. Always our emotional mind tells us we've experienced this before, the amygdala gets triggered, this isn't safe. That's not always true. That can be our mind creating assumptions because it's designed to keep us alive. The more that we become aware of this, the more we can start to make rational decisions from a clear, centered, grounded place that's freer of fear. So we can see whether, is this really happening now? Is this true? Is this something that I need to respond to? Or is this something where I need to clear this old fear so I can come from a clear space and make some logical, rational decisions where I'm not being overtaken by my emotion? Ideally, this, I believe, is where we need to be headed for, so we can start to make some amazing structural shifts on the planet to take us towards an amazing place in the future for humanity. Lots of work to do to get to that place, as we can all see, you know, on a world level, around how there are a few people who are very challenging in their behaviour and psychology and are shaping the world going down that road. It's not somewhere I want to go. If you're watching this, I'm guessing you don't either. So lots of love to you right now, and your mastery of your personal story right now. Remember, on day 5, this is where we see where we are. And we are all in this together. Everything that everybody does influences everything else. There's no way that we can be an island on our own because we are interdependent. What we can let go of is being codependent and having the courage to speak out now against injustice and disempowerment mechanisms that are designed to keep people in a place of low everything. The universe has to match our beliefs. What are yours? Lots of love. If you want to know any more information, if you want to know about your personal code, if you want to know how to change how you feel, please get in touch. My website is flowwithjo.com. See you soon.